This is Robyn Leslie with onlytheinspired.com, and I have the beautiful Veronica Shier here, Miss Colorful. Look at those earrings. They're just awesome, and the hair is great. So we're going to find out a little bit about Veronica today and what she's all about. And so in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Hey everyone, Veronica Shier here. I am so thankful. Thank you, Robyn, for having me. This is just an awesome opportunity to be able to share and connect with each other. This is how everybody's doing it now, right? We're all connecting on Zoom and StreamYard and yes, I'm really, really grateful. I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
So a little bit about me. I like color. I'm obsessed with earrings. I have a lot of earrings. I didn't pierce my ears till I was 26. And then once I did, I was like, well, I want really large earrings to hang out of these holes that I've poked in my ears. So love color, all about it. And I'm just about brightening up the world. So my company is Thrive Life Coaching. And I work with individuals who are feeling stuck in just the everyday stuff of life. They're feeling stuck in survival mode, and circumstances happen to all of us. We can't avoid life, right? We can't avoid the pitfalls and the excitement and the joy and the sorrow. And so lots of people, though, they get stuck in letting life happen to them. And I work with individuals to create life that happens for them, so that even despite the circumstances we can't change, we can't avoid or control everything that goes on in our life, but we have control about what we do with those things that happen and how do we navigate that to continue towards a life of thriving.
Gotcha. Well, and a lot of people don't realize that they have the choice. They think, well, this is where I'm at, and it kind of sucks, and there's nothing I can do. And so I'm glad you're helping people realize, no, you can actually create this instead of, being a prisoner or just going with what you got in and got stuck doing. No, you have options, and you can love what you do.
Absolutely.
So how did you get started in this business? Was it one event or was it a series of events? What did you do before, and how did you kind of merge into that?
So that's a lifetime story. We don't have time for that. But
talk really fast.
I will talk. I can do that. I can talk really fast. So basically, I was born with a disability, a spinal cord disability, that has obviously brought challenges to my life throughout my life, and lots of health issues and medical stuff, and a lot of people telling me that I couldn't do things, that I would never be able to reach for the stars and to do all the things that I wanted so badly to do. Thankfully, I had a father who was a dreamer, and he was a go for the stars and dream big or just don't dream it out. Like, what's the point? If you're going to dream, why not shoot for the stars? Because if you shoot for the stars, then, even if you don't make it, you're still going to do something bigger and more glorious than had you not dreamt it all. And Absolutely. So with everything, and he had some health issues as well. And so as he journeyed along, we were kind of like, I felt like we were kind of partners in crime, so to speak, in terms of we were doing this thing together. And I knew that he understood struggle and he understood health issues, and I kept seeing him succeed. And so it instilled that in me, in wanting to kind of break those barriers to say, no, you say I can't do it. No, I really want. I'm now going to, and I'm going to prove you wrong, because this is something I want. And so, going through school, I did not like school. Children are mean, can be mean, and bullying is real. And so I always said at the end of school, I come from a long line of teachers who all thought I would go. They were, because I'm really good with kids, so they're like, you will be a teacher. And I was like, you couldn't pay me enough to hang out there. Like, I hated being there in the first place. Long story short, I ended up working as an educational assistant, and I worked with kids with special needs. And I did that for 8 years, and I absolutely loved it. And I'm not sure, I live in Canada, full disclosure, so I'm not sure, you guys have, like, you call them special ed rooms, right? The special ed room where kids who need extra help can go, they get taken out of the class by the educational assistants and work on their own programs and curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So I hated that because as a kid, I had a physical disability, but mentally, I was as smart as any other kid. But, I mean, this was a long time ago. I'm aging myself a little bit. At that point, there was no differentiation. If you were different, if you had any kind of disability, you were lumped together. So I was with all the kids who had to have varying or adapted programs because they couldn't learn what their age group was learning, where I just had physical limitations but was lumped in with them. And so it was really, really frustrating for me as a kid because then I was, automatically segregated.
Right.
So as I came into working in this environment, I really truthfully didn't care about kids learning about science and social studies and math and history. Those things are all important. That was not my motive for being there. My motive for being there was that the kids saw that they had value and worth and contribution to make to the world, despite their circumstances, despite what was going on in their lives and in their health. And so immediately I relabeled it the fun room. And so I would take kids out of the classroom for half an hour or an hour a day, and we would go to the fun room. Kids then, and we would have fun. And so I reframed it. And then the other kids who didn't have to come to the fun room wanted to come to the fun room. And so then it became a reward at the end of the week. If the kids I was working with were focused and we were doing what we needed to be doing, at the end of the week, they were allowed to bring a friend who normally didn't come to the fun room, would get to come and check it out for like 20 minutes. And then they got to experience it. So it was this really beautiful thing of inclusion and but also celebrating each other's differences. And I'm really, really grateful for that. All that to be said, some stuff went down and I had some health issues and some people in the organization that were not quite as inclusive minded as I was. And I ended up resigning from that job, and which broke my heart, but I knew my health mattered more than keeping a job. And so I resigned from that. And then, I was 28 years old, and I'm like, I have 28, 29, and I have so much more life to live.
For sure.
Right? And this was going to be my career forever. What am I going to do? Just previous to that, I had actually seen a life coach because stuff that we don't have time to get into, my life had kind of spiraled due to a lot of things health related to me. I had brain surgery when I was 15, and that caused a lot of hormonal imbalances. My dad then passed away when I was 19. And so the person that was like, we were doing this life together, and he got me and he understood and like pushed me forward to be better and do better and dream big. Suddenly I didn't have my cheerleader anymore and was lost. And so I spent my early 20s, my late teens and early 20s, very lost. And so I'm grateful for the job as an educational assistant because that gave me purpose. That gave me something to get out of bed for. And so I ended up hiring a life coach just previous to actually quitting my job. And it completely changed my life. And I then unofficially became a life coach. Unintentionally, I became one, and just because I was practicing what I had learned. I was practicing what I was preaching, and then people saw the drastic change in me, and they're like, okay, how did you do that? Like, I saw you, I've known you, I saw how dark life was. What? Tell me your secrets. I need to know. And then with the transition of having to quit my job and then going, okay, what am I going to do now? Right? 27, 28 years old. What am I going to do now? It just became a natural kind of next step.
Awesome. So you've been doing it for how long?
So I got my qualification. So that's the thing. So I coached a lot of people for a bunch of years, and then people said, well, this could be your new thing, and you probably should get paid for this because you're really good at it. So I have been unofficially coaching for about 6 years, 5-6 years total since I started coaching. I've been doing it with my company after getting my certification. I got that in December of 2017.
Oh, very cool. Well, and you don't have to be certified to be a life coach. Tony Robbins doesn't have any certification.
That's true.
But,
That's true.
Yeah. So
yeah, but with my company, company as a certified life coach, I've been doing that since 2017.
Oh, very cool. Yay. Yeah. I love that story. That's quite a story.
That is just the beginning. That's the condensed, I talked fast version.
Right. I'm going to make sure my phone is on silent. So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
I've been talking to a lot of people about this lately, and I was part of a big challenge. How we met through Rise Up, and all about entrepreneurs rising up and creating this life that we want and this business that we want to change the world. And for me, it's actually quite simple. What do I see for my business? I want to create a space for people to come and feel cared about and seen and heard, loved, and that they can see they have a purpose, that there's a vision for them, that there is, yes, circumstances have maybe derailed some of their dreams, maybe have taken them off the path that they envisioned for themselves, but to recognize the value that they have as human beings, and that we all just, it's ultimately that I show people that they have the ability to thrive and am able to help them figure out what does that roadmap look for them. I was in an interview recently, and I used the analogy that when we were all traveling, remember when we were all traveling and actually went on vacations?
Right.
You plan a vacation, and whether it's with your spouse or your family or just a girl's vacation because you want to, get out of town, and you make all these plans, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to the show, maybe catch a Cirque show, or I'm going to go to the spa, I'm going to whatever your plan is, right? And now you know my vacations and what they look like, and go to the beach and hang out in the pool, right? And then there is construction on the road. You're driving to your destination, and there's construction on the road. You don't cancel your trip. Figure out, you get the map out, and you figure out the detour, right? You figure out the other roads that will lead to your destination. And yeah, maybe your timeline is delayed a little bit, but you go. And it's that way with life, right? Absolutely. Things happen that derail us, that kind of stop us in our tracks, construction ahead, and you figure it out. And so I help people with mindset, actually, because so often it's not actually the stuff in our day, it's our mindset. It's the belief that, oh my goodness, this stuff is happening to me. What am I going to, I'm a victim, I'm overwhelmed, right? It's all those feelings, and those feelings are real. Anxiety is real. Overwhelm is real. Depression is real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what do we do with those things? And where do we take those? And so my ultimate goal with Thrive Life Coaching is that if I can reach somebody, if I can make somebody's day better today, I can go to bed tonight happy and fulfilled.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, and just like you were saying, you thought that you were going to be a teacher's assistant. That was going to be your thing.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, hello, detour. But, and that isn't a failure in any way on your part. Maybe that was, it was a purpose for that time and place. And then now your purpose is something completely different.
Yeah.
And yes, so I love that. Well,
yeah.
And so many people, it's just how can I step into what I'm doing? And just a quick mindset shift that you can help them with, not only can help them during that day, but possibly for the rest of their lives, just like your life coach. That can, just working with that life coach right before, the shit hit the fan,
right.
It took you in a much different direction, one that lights you up on a daily basis and where you're not restricted because of what other people think you should be doing. And that's the part I love is we get to color this in any color that we want. And we could wear the biggest earrings, like probably in, that school, you probably couldn't feel free to wear big old fat fluffy earring. You know what I mean? There's limits when you're kind of on your own. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so yeah.
I love it. No, and I think there's something in that too, that when I looked at it and looked at working as an EA, I wasn't actually in it to be an EA. I was in it to instill value in children and purpose and confidence and self-esteem. And I'm still doing that in people. Right? So purpose isn't a job. It's not a destination. There's not a box for it. And so I think it's like, what is your deepest desire? What is your purpose? Like, what gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning? Because if you're doing that, the outfit you're wearing outside of that doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter how you're doing it. It matters that you're doing it.
Right. Well, and I love that you wanted to help kids because you were in that, situation and people look at you different. And I didn't have any physical handicaps, but I was a super slow reader. So I got yanked out of the English class in 5th grade and, had my little tutor for reading because I was such a slow reader. And I still, if I look at a book, the first paragraph, I'm all... And so I'm such a slow reader, but, I felt different and, to be put in that box. But kids need to know that they have worth. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but yes.
I actually had this, I was working with, I think there was 4 kids. They were in kindergarten, okay? That's an important piece of this. We're in kindergarten and we're doing math. And so we're like basic, count on your hands addition. We're like, I'm giving you 2 Lego blocks. And then this kid is going to you're going to give them 1 of your blocks. How many blocks do you have left? Right? And we go around, so they each take turns, and we're like, but I make it fun, right? And I'm like, there's no worksheets, we're playing with Legos. Or I had these giant foam dice that we would roll down the hallway. Some of the teachers didn't love me for that. We tried to use the hall that there was less people in, but we get around, we'll go up, this kid goes, does great. This one gets it right. Good job, guys. This is awesome. Get to this little girl and who had struggles, and she had struggles, not just learning struggles. She had struggles at home. And she was one of my favorite students. You're not supposed to have favorites, but man, I loved her. And I still think about her years later, and I hope she's doing well. But she got it wrong. She got the answer wrong. And I said, that was a really good try. Can we try it again? Right? You were really close. Can you take another minute? Don't rush. Take another minute and let's figure it out. And she burst into tears. like full on lost her mind, burst into tears, and said, I'm an idiot. I can't do anything right. I'm worthless. Like, I'm never going to be good at anything. I don't even know why I'm here. 5 years old.
That's
and my
so
heart
sad.
broke.
Yeah.
And I immediately said, okay, guys, math game done. I want, starting with you over here who started the math game, right? We're going to do something different. I want you guys to tell, you're going to start, and this little boy's going to start. You're going to go around the table, and I want you to tell me, what do you appreciate? What do you value about each kid at this table? What is something you're thankful for about each of these individuals? Because I wanted that little girl to hear 4 other people tell her what they viewed about her.
Mm-hmm.
Because the messages she was getting, not good. Right? And I was like, this is enough. I don't care about math right now. I care that this 5-year-old girl sees that she has value, that she's enough, even when she gets it wrong. And that has been my mission since that day. And now in life coaching, in thriving, yeah, shit hits the fan. Things go wrong. People die. We lose jobs. There are so many things, right? That doesn't decrease your value.
No.
That does not diminish who you are. Who's your identity? And so that's where I start my work, is what are the messages we're feeding ourselves? What are those messages we're listening to the world, right? What are we intaking? And then what are we saying, right? Because it's one thing, the things that we hear. You're outside, you can't hear. I can't take away the fact that the bully said things to me, right? But then am I also then taking those? This little girl took what she heard and then spoke it.
To herself, about herself. Mm-hmm.
And it became her reality, right? So what am I, because yeah, stuff's going to go in there. You're going to hear stuff. We can't control that. But what am I choosing to believe? And what am I feeding myself? What thoughts about myself and my identity and my value and my worth and my purpose am I feeding myself? And then what am I speaking? Because I got to check that.
Yes.
Because
and
if I don't,
those are the most powerful words. And she's a 5-year-old. And so until, if none of us had the coaching or the positive person. And so if we talk that negative self-talk from 5 years old to 35 years old, then then it's really part of our identity. And it's just, all false. It's just what we kind of brainwashed because other people said it and we bought into it. And yeah. But yeah, if you can't get that out of there, we are all beautiful in our own way. It doesn't matter what it is. But yeah, to get those out of there, I love that you're doing that with people. Because people hear that kind of crap. It depends on who, you were raised up with, or, if you don't have any cheerleaders, sometimes it could be almost every person that you deal with. And then you have such a low self-worth. And it doesn't have to be that. We could remove all that negative stuff. Yeah.
I mean, let's just look at the world right now, right? And the messages and the division that is happening.
It's super sad.
It's so sad. And then it's like, this person said this, like I saw an interview where someone said something that they shouldn't have said. And everybody attacked them. And they went and I know this person, I follow this person, and I know this person's heart. And then they came and they apologized, publicly apologized that I am wrong, and now are going to be painted that they're this hateful human being. And I've had, so it's hard because anytime you speak out about this stuff, there's somebody who's always ready there to tell you you're wrong, to jump on you as soon as you make a mistake. And so I love that you brought up failure, because it's something where like everybody's afraid to fail. We're all afraid to say the wrong thing and to do the wrong thing and to be on the wrong side or have the wrong information. I believe, honestly, and this is what I talk about with my clients too, we work on mindset and what are those things that you're hearing? What are those things that you're choosing to believe, right? Where are you getting your information from? But then also, what are you going to do with that, right? And am I going to live in fear? So many of us are living in fear, right? What if I fail? So what if I have this dream, right? And what if I've worked on my mindset and I believe I'm worth it and my dream is achievable and I invest all this in it and I am worth what I think I'm worth. And then what if I fail?
Then get up and try again.
I honestly believe you will not fail until you stay down.
Until you stop trying. Yeah.
Until you stop trying, your life is not over. I could have stopped after having to resign from my job and been like, well, I failed at that. That was what I was supposed to do. And now I'm done.
Well, if you look at the basic, so when we're a year old, we get up, we try to walk, we fall. We get up, try and walk, we fall. We get up, try and walk, we fall. And just from the 1-year-old little brain, they're not going to stop until they actually do it. And then now we don't even think about it, but it was up and fall, up and fall, up and fall, up and fall, up and fall. But it wasn't you suck, stay down, you're going to be worth it. You know what I mean? Right? Don't ever try to get up again, and if you fall one more time, you're just going to be shamed.
Done.
But yeah, it's those beliefs that we grow since then, but we are meant to get up and keep trying until we get what we want. And sometimes we don't think that, or, it's all about what we think other people are going to think of us. If I fail, what are they going to think? One of the biggest fears out there is the fear of public speaking. And I think mostly it's because you're more worried about what people are going to think about you, what they're going to say about your dress, what they're going to say about how you said it. If you screw up, if you say the wrong thing, then you're labeled as somebody different. But at the same time, if you turn it around and it's like, what can I give? Then it doesn't matter what I look like, if my shirt was, if my belly's a little big, whatever. As long as you're not, it's when we focus on ourselves and what other people think of us is when,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your competition? And I'm a collaboration versus competition person. So there's lots of life coaches out there. So what do you think kind of sets you apart from other life coaches out there?
Shout out to all my life coach friends. You guys are great. And I think that is the beauty of life coaching, is it's so vast, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Think about it like a high school, right? You have science teachers, and you have gym teachers, and you have math teachers, and you have English teachers, right? The same goes for life coaching. I'm not going to be a health coach who is going to teach you how to train for a marathon, because I can't walk a block. I have a power chair, and that's not my thing. But I'm an individual who has dealt with mental illness for over half my life, since I was 15 years old. I know what it is to feel depressed. I know what it is to have anxiety and panic attacks and be in the middle of a room surrounded by people who are celebrating Christmas and you have a panic attack. And you don't know and you're not with your family. You're not with anyone you really, really know. And what do you do in that moment, right? I know what it is to have suicidal ideations. And this is right before I ended up seeing a life coach, because I legit only got up to go to work as an EA. and I had 2 weeks off spring break. For spring break, we have 2 weeks off, and all my other coworkers were talking about the fancy, expensive holidays they were going to take and the adventures they were going to go on. And I thought to myself, I can't afford to go away. I can't afford that stuff. And I'm going to have nothing to do for 2 weeks. I'm not going to get out of bed. I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to sleep because I don't really sleep. Like I stayed in bed all day, but I didn't really sleep very well, right? I'm going to lay in bed thinking about ways to end my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do that for 2 weeks because that was my reality. Friday, I'd get home from work and I wouldn't get out of bed till church on Sunday. And I was like, I have 2 weeks of this. And I called my girlfriend who lives 8 hours away and said, who had just had a baby, busy girl. And I called her and said, I need to come stay with you for 2 weeks. I don't need you to entertain me. I don't need you to take care of me. I just need a bed. I have to get out of town. Like, I just have to get out of this space. And she was like, yep, no problem. Come. And I was like, cool. I'm coming like in 3 days. Like, this is very last minute, no notice. Long story short, I actually found out about life coaching on that trip. I hadn't really, and we're talking 8 years ago. And so life coaching at that point was still newer. Like Tony Robbins was doing it, and that was kind of it. But like, I can't afford to go to see Tony Robbins. And, you know, who knows if he'll even hear my story. And so I actually hired my life coach on that trip, hours after I heard about life coaching. And so, which totally changed the trajectory. So to answer your question, what sets me apart is I am not going to ask my clients to do anything that I haven't already done. I'm not going to ask them about mindset stuff that I don't understand, that I can't relate to, that I haven't climbed. I'm not going to ask them to climb a mountain and do work that I myself haven't done. And so I think in that they see that I've done it and go, okay, yeah, no, she's been through all of this stuff. I can relate to her. I'm relatable. We've talked about this. I'm just kind of off the cuff and conversational, and I am who I am. You get what you see. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. I'm not striving for perfection because that will get you to failure. You will quit if you're just trying for perfection, right? And so my clients see that I have done the work and how far I've come and how much, despite the fact that life is still not easy. I still deal with chronic pain and a disability every day, every minute of my life. And yet I'm thriving.
Yay. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. That's super important. And some of the things that you mentioned, I have never experienced. And so I've never had a panic attack. You know, I've never been suicidal. So it would be harder for, I could use the tools that I have to help somebody, but I haven't been there. And so, and it's important to really, truly understand your client. I've been through that. This is what I've done. I love that you shared that you're not going to tell them to do something you've never done. And yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
Probably fear of putting myself out there and being rejected. I think, and maybe this is oversimplifying it, but I think that is what we all fear.
Yeah.
That is the what if I fail? What if I put all this work in and nobody hires me? And I have to figure out a third career. because this is my second one, right? And so I think working through the fear of that, and again, that's just mindset work, right? Whether it's as drastic as I'm having a panic attack and I don't think my life is worth living, you don't have to be in that place for me to help you.
Right.
It's what has you stuck in surviving, and where, like, that there is some disconnect between where you are in surviving and where you want the mountaintop of thriving, right? Because often the reason we're not where we want to be isn't actually stuff. It's our thoughts. It's the beliefs that we have about ourselves or the people around us, right? About our situation. And we get stuck in that. And so for me, the biggest thing, that's always been struggle, is what are the lies that my brain's telling me? You can't do this. You have a disability and don't have very much money because you live on disability pension, and you're right, like, you don't have the resources, and you've only done this for this long, and like, you don't have a staff, like, you don't have a multi-million-dollar company to back you and to create the resources that you need to have a successful business, right? It's the spinning lies that your brain tells you. It's the flight or fight, right? Our brains are meant to, like, our brains know how to survive. And they do that through flight or fight, right? They either fight something because it's like, I'm in immediate danger right now and I need this thing to go away. I need to fight this thing, or I need to run away from it, right? Our brains are not actually programmed to thrive. That's where intentional work comes in. And that's what I love doing with people. All right, let's take, what are the steps you need to take from here surviving to here thriving?
I love it.
And I do it with myself every day.
Yeah. And it also depends on what questions you ask. And I didn't realize that until I went to a Tony Robbins event, The Date with Destiny, and talks about a primary question. So our brain is an amazing computer, and it depends on what questions you ask.
Yeah.
To get whatever answers. So if you struggle with the weight problem and you say, why am I so fat? Well, your brain's going to do its job going, well, because you love cookies, because you're lazy, because you don't like to exercise, because this and this and this and this and this. It'll give you all the reasons why you're fat. Yep. If you say, how can I lose weight and have fun doing it? It's like, well, I could go on walks with friends. I could eat, this healthy thing that I absolutely love to eat. I just am too lazy to get it. You know what I mean? If you ask the right questions, how can I, then you could do this and this and this. If you say, why can't I? Why, what if I fail? Or, why are all the reasons I fail? You'll get all the reasons you'll fail. Yeah. If you ask, all the reasons I can do it, then your brain will find those reasons. Well, you could, talk to friends, you can, all sorts of stuff. That's super important. So this is a question I ask everybody, because some people have it, some people don't. And so do you have the support network of friends and family encouraging you to do this, or are you doing something like, I know I have to do this and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks?
Both. We all have, somebody said the other day, I'm doing a challenge currently. I'm hosting a challenge, and one of my speakers said, I think it was yesterday, she said, if you find one person, if you have one person supporting you, that's enough. Zone into their voice and their encouragement. That's all you need. And so as a kid, that was my dad. Right? I have an incredible mother. Shout out to my mother. She is amazing. We are very different people. And so we had to learn each other's love language. We had to learn how to communicate effectively with each other, because it doesn't come naturally to us. Whereas because my dad and I am my father's daughter, I understood, right? And I think because of the health stuff we were going through too, I was like, he gets it, right? So when he's telling me, get up and try again, he's done it. So I know it can be done, right? And so I think now it's looking at, there's a lot of people, I have an amazing family. They're all really, really brilliant. I don't know if you watch The Big Bang Theory ever. Okay. I am Penny. And my family are the neighbors. Like, my cousin got her PhD in astrophysics when she was 27 or 28. Like, I have astrophysicists in my family and university professors, and like, my cousin works for a company in the States that builds robots. Like they're really, really smart. And so they don't all necessarily understand what it is I do. I don't say that they're not supportive. But they're misguided in what I do. They're still waiting for me to get a degree, minimum. That, like, in my family, minimum, you have to have a degree. And so I'm like, I have 3 certificates. And they're like, cool, so when are you getting your degree? I'm like, not. Right? And so I think it's that too. It's shifting to say, like, are these people maybe not supportive, or they just don't see my vision? They're just not supposed to be on the train with me. And but I've also been really, really blessed in having many people. My mother is an incredible support, and she is bragging about me all the time to her friends and to the people she meets. And so I'm really, really grateful. This is another piece that I teach people in my coaching is, you need that community. Like, you get to decide, right? You don't not have community because you're a terrible person, nobody likes you. I mean, maybe that's the case for some people, but I think more often than not, it is, because I'm not saying there aren't awful people out there, but more often than not, it is because you weren't intentional to find your tribe. You were spending your time with people who don't see your vision. You were not meant to be on the same train. And so it is, I have worked really, really hard over the last decade to not be a people pleaser, because that's my name. I love people. I love relationships. And for many, many years, I was just, and because I think as a kid, I didn't have very many friends. I had 2 friends, one that went to school with me and one that was homeschooled. And then the one that went to school with me, she left in grade 4. And then it was just miserable. And so as a person who didn't have a ton of friends, I was always like, love me, please love me. Like that, right? Like, I just want love and care, and that I'm valued, right? Because the world, right, society, and what is success was telling me I was never going to be successful, was that I wasn't valuable, that I was just meant to, take government money and milk that and sit on my couch and watch TV and just exist. And so I had to then decide, I need to find the people who see my vision, who get what I'm about, and then hold on to those people. Because, and a friend of mine said this, one of my speakers said, he said, you need to be true to who you are. The people who are meant to be in your circle, you're going to attract the people that you need to, but you're also going to repel the people that you're not supposed to have in your life. We're not all supposed to be friends with, like, not everybody's meant to be in your tribe. You can be civil to them, absolutely. We should be kind to each other and loving to each other. Just putting that out there, guys. Like, but But not everybody's meant to be in your tribe. Not everybody's going to see your vision. That doesn't make them bad. That just means they're not in your tribe.
Right.
And until you're true to yourself, you're not going to find that tribe. Because you're going to be so busy being like, hey, love me, care for me, see my worth, see my value. To people who aren't meant to see it.
Exactly. Or who don't want to. Yeah. You surround the ones that lift you up, not pull you down. Yeah. So what is your favorite thing about your business?
Seeing the transition that people make and the wins and the confidence that is built in them. I had one lady that was agoraphobic and didn't leave her house, was terrified to leave her house. She would drop her daughter off at church because she wanted her daughter to be at church, and her daughter wanted to be at church, but she wouldn't come in because she couldn't do the crowd. And we worked together, and I'm going to say 2 months later, I saw her at the aquatic center, and she said to me, I come here every day and I love it. And I can't imagine not being here. Like, I'm still not 100% cool with the crowds. That is still uncomfortable. But I wake up and I want to come.
Good.
In 2 months.
Yay.
That's why I do what I do. I want people, that is thriving.
To go beyond what they thought they were stuck in. And that's beautiful. I love that. So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
What inspires me? Joy inspires me. It's interesting, my life coach that I had 8 years ago, I had lost my joy, and I was a joyful kid. You can tell, I am passionate and excited, and I love just love and life and fun. I'm fun, right? Who has blue hair? As an adult, I love fun and color and adventure, and I've been that way for my whole life. And I lost it for 10 years. I lived in darkness, did not want to live, daily looking for opportunities to end my life where it would look like an accident. So my mother wouldn't know that I ended my life. So at least she wouldn't have to deal with that on top of losing me. But I still felt that her life would be better if I wasn't there because I was a burden.
That's so sad.
Because my life was just so dark. I didn't feel I brought any value to anyone. And so coming out of that, I live every day. I don't care if I feel like crap. Because I have days I feel like crap. I have bad health days and chronic pain, and it sucks. But I choose, and I look at what in my day, and this is my life coach said to me, he said, because I said, I've lost my joy. And he said, what do you enjoy? And I hadn't really thought about that because I grew up in a Christian home, and so joy has always been connected to spirituality and God, and I've had a relationship with God, and that is my number one. I am me because of God.
Mm-hmm.
But when he said that, he said, so what do you enjoy? And I was like, well, what? Church things? I like worship music. I really enjoy that. I enjoy going to church. And he said, no. Just because guess what? God created the mountains for people to go mountain biking on. So going mountain bike, not that I can do that, but going mountain biking is a spiritual thing. It doesn't have to be in a church to be connected to God, to be a spiritual thing that you can enjoy. And so I started looking at every day, no matter what is going on in my day, no matter what I have to do, I do something I enjoy. I make sure that there is time, whether that is, and for everyone that's different. So I love to paint. I have a painting company that I sell photography. I'm an artist. So this is the artist luck. I paint my own nails and my hair, and And so I do photography. I go out into nature and I take beautiful pictures, and then I sell them as greeting cards and whatever, and prints and on canvas, and I paint. I love painting. It's business, so I sell them, but there's something beautiful in it. That's my time to just be to myself. I listen to some worship music, and I just get to be me. And I don't have to show up for anyone. I don't have to perform or meet expectations of others. And I think that's what fills me up, so that when I do show up for others, I can do that fully, because I have taken care of me. I've let God take care of me, and I can come fully engaged and fully filled. My cup is filled, that I can then serve you.
I love that. And making sure that you enjoy something every day. I think that's simple but profound. You put yourself in that joy because you know that's what you need, and I like that. It's simple, but what a difference.
And I think people, and again, I'm in a different scenario than others, just because of my health. But I think the world is so, and that's a message I share with all my clients. And I also I also do, aside from coaching, I do lifestyle workshops, life skills workshops. And so I talk to groups, whether it's educational groups or work environments and companies, and for Prody days and such. And then we talk about nonviolent communication and team building and boundary setting and self-care, and right. So this is all, it's part of my work, but the world often, we're so busy. And that's been the interesting thing about this whole COVID social isolation, stay home thing, is people have slowed down, and they're like, now I'm getting anxious. Like, people are having anxiety more than they've ever had. And I've talked to so many people who said, I've never had anxiety in my life, and now I'm just afraid of everything. I'm afraid of germs everywhere. And right. And I don't know what to do with myself, because I have all this time, but it feels like I don't have time, because what if I get sick and then I die? And like, everyone is just so anxious. And I think so that's my message. That a lot of work that I do with clients, whether in a workshop or in coaching, is like, I don't care if it is going outside for a 5-minute walk, or it's driving to Starbucks to get a coffee. If that's something you enjoy and it takes 5 minutes, because 5 minutes is all you have in your day, then do it. If you have time, I love being at the pool. I am waiting for it to open up, because it is one of my pain therapies and I need it. But I go and I just float in the pool, because it takes all of the gravity away from my body and the pressure, and I enjoy it. And it's something that fills me up. And so if you've got a day that you have 2 hours or 4 hours that you can go and just dedicate to filling you up, do it. If you've got 5 minutes, use those 5 minutes. Because there's always something else you could do. You could go grab the mail. You could check your work email. You could do some dishes. You could vacuum. Or you could invest in yourself.
Exactly. And
right?
Yep, absolutely. So one last question, and we're almost out of time. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I talk a lot.
Oh, that's okay, and I love it. I love, you are just full of life, and it's beautiful. So if you can leave one tip or one golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you could tell them and your only chance to say it, what would that be?
I would say you were made to thrive. That is not a message that this world gives necessarily. That is not a message you hear day to day. There are demands, there are requirements, there are responsibilities. But if you're not taking care of that and investing your time in what do I need for me to be the best I can be, to show up for others, because we do want to live a life of service. My life is about service. But I can't do that unless I'm living in my fullness, with my cup full, and with in my thriving. And if I'm not getting what I need to get to be able to do that, then I'm not only robbing myself, because some people think, I've heard this term that self-care is selfish. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Because if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of others. If, for example, if I don't go to physio and take that time out, that hour, to go and lay on a table and have a physiotherapist loosen my muscles and relocate my bones that have shifted, then I am useless to anyone else. I physically can't go. And so often we think, okay, but that's because you physically can't, and like, I'm physically fine. Okay, but if your mind isn't right, if you're not taking care of the messages that you let in here, and what you're feeding yourself and your mind and your spirit and your soul, then you can't show up for people as much as you want to. So it not only hurts you, it's going to hurt others.
Yeah. Well, if you're depleted, energy, spirit, how much are you going to give? If you're already just running on fumes, you have to fill up your own gas tank, and then you could be so much more to everybody else. Yeah.
Can I share one more thought?
Absolutely.
I have this vision of, picture a mason jar, right? And you have a bag of sand, and you have a bag of small stones, small rocks. The sand are the daily tasks that we have. The responsibilities, the little things, the mail, the dishes, taking care of the kids, like making sure the kids' beds are made, or making sure the homework is signed, et cetera, et cetera. The rocks are like your sole purpose priorities, right? So many people are busy filling the mason jar with sand that by the time they fill it with sand, they try to put the rocks in, they won't fit. But if you put your rocks in first, and that someone said to me, I heard someone saying that when my 5-year-old says to me, Daddy, come play with me, I go play with him, because my relationship with my son is more important than cooking dinner right now, or vacuuming, or whatever the thing is, right? If we put those rocks and the priorities, whatever those are, into the jar first, when you pour the sand in, it actually will move, and it goes around the rocks, and you can actually accomplish and fill the jar with both.
But if you do it the other way, I love that. That's a great visualization. Awesome. So if people want to get a hold of you, and they resonate with you, and they want to find out more about you, where exactly would they go?
My website is www.thrivelifecoaching.ca. That is for my coaching and my workshops. If you're interested in art, just going to throw that out there, my website is veronicasvisionsart.ca. And I teach paint classes. I sell my art. It really all comes down to relationships and how are we thriving.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. You are truly a blessing, and just a great big ball of energy and sunshine. I love it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
No problem, no problem. So for anybody that wants to reach out to Miss Veronica, one more time, go to thrivelifecoaching.ca for Canada. So it's THRIVELIFECOACHING.ca. And then you'd have to say the other website one more time.
My name. So it's Veronica's Visions Art.ca.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time.